fellow humans and any potential non-humans watching. Gita Rose here. Thank you for tuning in. Today's video is about allowance, the idea of allowing things to come to us. That is actually more so how the law of attraction is really working, is that everything that we could ever desire, our most preferred vibration, the best versions of us are always on our way to us. The universe, the consciousness, the supreme conscious creator that is you is always, always, always sending you your weekly allowance, your hourly, your in the moment allowance of all that is us. I feel a lot of us, and myself included, right, completely, are very much working through the belief of needing to do to output to be able to align with manifestation, to be able to allow things to come to us. I feel like this is something that we all have heard before, that I've talked about in different videos. And really, essentially, all of these types of teachings that come from the hybrid lineage in particular, we're really saying the same thing. Many different channels from many different perspectives, hybrid lineage or not, are really saying the same thing. It's just that we tilt it this way, or this way, or this way, or this way to allow us to really hear the messages in many different ways. And this concept of allowing, receiving, relaxing into has been a really big lesson for me, really since starting to share my services and my story publicly, but especially within the last few weeks. Because I feel that we're feeling this ramping up, right? This potential, many different changes, different experiences are manifesting for people, right? We're aligning with these things. And especially too with spring coming and with the time change happening in most states, or at least in America, depending on where you are in the world, but the spring or just the shift of the seasons in general coming, regardless of where you're located in the world, gives us an extra buzz, an extra idea that we need to do to create change, to align with our preferences. And so for me in particular, it's really been about moving a little bit slower than we think that we need to. I've said that before. And being very honest with ourselves when we are taking an action, to ask ourselves, is this truly my passion? Is this truly my place of joy? Or am I taking an action from a belief system? This is the dance that we have been integrating for a very long time. And there seems to be now an opening. Again, with all these different shifts, there's a new moon right now as I'm filming this, your yesterday. If you're watching this, my tomorrow time. So there's a ramping up and there's an opening with all of these different shifts and changes. And it's something that I feel is very core within us, this belief that we need to do to take the action to align with our preferred vibration. And this stems from, I believe, a very core belief that our civilization has in regards to needing to earn, needing to do, needing to act. And essentially, this stems from our programming in many different ways, and our choice to experience this programming of being disconnected from source, of being disconnected from our divinity, from our constant divine allowance in each and every moment. And there's many different stories, many different his and her stories as to why this may be ingrained in our DNA. But it's really fun to choose to know that, like, oh, whatever the exact details of the his and her story may be, we have made this choice to awaken our divine connection to source. We've made this choice for this to be a kind of the main part of our human experience, right? Is remembering that we are always in the act and art of allowance. And so this is a big part of what we are taking from a conceptual understanding into a fully ingrained knowing of our connection and our ability to very effortlessly align with what we truly prefer. For many of us, it is important and part of our journey, like I've said before, to push ourselves ever so slightly, to perhaps take a little bit more action to do things that give us the right kind of fear. But I know for me and for many individuals that I've been in contact with within the last few weeks, it's really been our lesson to allow ourselves to take a moment of stillness and a moment of receptivity and honoring that, essentially simply translate enough, that feminine polarization of creation, the aspect of us that truly is able to receive and allow our eternal abundance in the allowance. And allowance means many different things, right? There's many different ways that we can allow. We can allow ourselves to be ourselves. We can be in that state of allowance, of allowing whatever arises within us in regards to emotions, to feel it and to move through it, and to perhaps not get caught in the emotions, to remain connected to that aspect of us that is the actor in the show, that knows it's a character playing out a scene, to remain connected to that awareness that we are in an experience, but then also being very honest and allowing the feelings to move and arise, and not needing to push ourselves into what we define as a positive state. It's not necessarily about feeling good all the time, but getting really good at feeling. I think sometimes too, we misinterpret what it means to be in a positive state regardless of the situation. Sometimes I think we feel, or we have the belief, that that means that we need to be really ecstatically happy and joyful when we are experiencing a breakup, or when we are experiencing financial worry, or whatever the situation may be. From my experience, and I went through this a lot this past week, like there were definitely some experiences that I didn't prefer, and I spent time in what we label a denser vibration, crying, kind of sad, kind of lethargic, foggy, depressed. But again, allowing myself to feel those feelings, but then always, to the best of my ability, retaining that connection, that awareness, that knowing that this is an experience, and to allow the the feelings to move through in their own way, and to drop into the feelings, and to either find any beliefs, to look at the lessons that are coming up, to remain in the knowing that this is for a lesson, while still feeling things that we don't actually prefer. I feel like a lot of times we think that it needs to jump all the way to the end game, to feeling what we define as extremely positive states. But even these denser emotions, ones that perhaps we have labeled negative emotions, are not negative at all. Because as we all know, those are the alarm bells that point us to things that we don't prefer. So we can be in the state of being grateful for them while still feeling them. Another definition of allowance is allowing people to be who they are. For many of us, this is a tricky one. But again, it's allowing ourselves, it's really the same thing, to process any emotions, to slow down ever so slightly enough to have the ability to respond rather than react, to allow ourselves to feel our natural emotions while still remaining aware of the connection that this individual is giving me a lesson. Oh, how fun. I'm so thankful. But we can still be in perhaps what we define a lower vibrational state. But it isn't a lower vibrational state if we are truly feeling the feelings and then retaining that connection, that it is for our benefit. And as we move forward, as we continue to refine and refine and refine our frequencies, I feel it's crucial for us, a big part of what we are going through, especially those of us that identify as star seeds and from this specific lineage, but also anyone who may be watching this. I feel what's really happening to us is us being able to truly hone and refine our frequency, to really move out of a space of any potential type of anxiety vibration and really be able to define what is truly our passion. And for many of us, it may look a little bit slower, a little bit calmer, a little bit gentle. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but for me, this has been like a huge lesson in relaxing and receiving and allowing our allowance to truly come to us. And for everyone, it's a very interesting balancing act, right? Of pushing ourselves ever so slightly, doing things that perhaps make us nervous, and then allowing ourselves just to sit and close our eyes, or to sit and watch a tree dance in the wind. And that type of stillness and that type of non-action is still an action. We are still in the state of doing, but more so being. And when we feel comfortable enough, when we truly know what we can comprehend, that we are always connected to Source, that we are infinitely worthy, that we have already earned anything that we could desire to earn, that our worth and our earnest essence is what we are, that's when we can truly experience the magic and the synchronicity that always abounds. It is an act of relaxation and surrendering to the control that always exists, surrendering to the control and the power and the guidance that is our higher selves. So once again, I feel like this has been a little bit rambly, saying many of the same things in this video and many of the same things that so many of us have said before. So perhaps it's a reminder. I know that for me in particular, this has been a really big part of my journey the last few weeks. And for many individuals that I have been in contact with and provided sessions for the last few weeks, Bella's been very adamant in showing me this lesson in a variety of different ways. And so I trust that it's relevant for many of us. And it's just a reminder that your divine allowance is always being doled out to you. We are able to tap into our infinite trust. And there is a certain type of perhaps courageousness to choose to know this, to choose to really believe that we can relax enough to align with our essence, because it's always, always, always being sent to us. But we're moving through huge collective core beliefs. So a reminder that you are divine, and that everything is fine, and you are always connected. Allow, allow, allow. We are never meant to know how. But it will come. It will arrive. Grateful we are alive. Okay, I'm going to stop being a poet. Thank you so much to my new subscribers this week. And thank you to those of you who continue to support my journey thus far. I sincerely appreciate it. If you'd like, you can subscribe, and and hit the bell, ding dong, so you get notifications on my latest videos. Our minds may be different. Our bodies may be different. But it is through our hearts that we know our spirits are one. Aloha!